Welcome to my show, Life and Living. Today my guest is Dr. Amitava Mukherjee. Sir, welcome to my show.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you. Sir, I have 4 segments in my show. We proceed through initial journey, then we have our career talk, then professional talk, and then at last the spiritual journey of the life. You can start from your professional talk.
Then I joined United Bank of India. You know, when you are in trouble, a lot of trouble come to you. But when you are happy, chappar phod ke upar wala deta hai. I got a Rotary Foundation fellowship to go to Rice University for my PhD.
USA.
Same time. But that time, I'm talking of 75, 76, getting a job is a big issue here. Full of unemployment. The only sources of employment for people like us was either join the civil services or join the banks or start small business. So I couldn't join the civil services because I already had lost my age at that time because of all this. And I was also not very keen and inclined or whatever it is I was. And I couldn't finish my law and start a practice because to earn as a lawyer, you have to do a lot of, it takes a lot of years. You become an articleship, then you have to establish a practice, then only you can earn. Earning as a lawyer is not easy. So I had the dilemma what to do. I can't leave the job. If I leave the job, you never know after 4 years, 5 years, I will get the job again. So I met the general manager.
Of the bank.
I went there. So general manager also I knew. General manager, these are all, very funny incidents. My cousin got married. Just that time. I got in the bank in September. And my cousin got married in December. And we were eating in Park Hotel in Calcutta. So my cousin, his wife and me, and there was one chair vacant. It was New Year's. A lot of crowd. So one gentleman came and told me, can I, this is very crowded. Would you mind if I take this seat? And I will order my food. I said, chalo, theek hai. We knew it. So my first posting was in Park Street branch. So he was eating and we were eating. And so he asked me, where do you work? As usual, you strike a conversation. I was a young man. He was not young, but he was quite a mature person. So I said, I work for United Bank of India. He said, where? I said, in Park Street branch. So I said, oh, good. When did you join? I said, I joined this. Then he asked me, who is the biggest borrower? I thought, as a young man, he's too inquisitive. Why should he ask me all this?
Why he will just met him once.
Just now, 2 minutes ago.
2 minutes
he's
ago,
asking all this. So I said, no, sir, I can't disclose all this to you because I am obligation to the bank that I cannot disclose officially. He said, okay, nothing. He finished, we were chatting. He finished his meal and he was saying, now I must take your leave. I said, okay, thank you, sir. So, may I know your name and what do you do? He said, I am Pavitra Kumar Sen, General Manager, United Bank of India. I was shocked, And that time, there used to be only one gentleman. So he took a liking for me because of that. That one can stick to his principle. So I met him. So he said, I will talk to the chairman. Those days there was no leave and study leave and all this were not there at all. There are private banks just nationalized. So he spoke to the chairman and he said, okay, 2 years leave granted. So after 2 years you join, but you will lose your seniority. That's okay. At that time, you were young, so you didn't care about seniority also. I got, when I left India, I got a 2-year leave. I was told. After I enrolled in the Rice University and all, I got a sanction letter from the bank, the official communication. It always used to come late. And those days it took 14 days for a letter to arrive from India to USA and vice versa. The letter arrived, I got only 1 year leave. My course is a master's course, it's a 2-year course. What do? I went and met my supervisor. They call advisor. The advisor said, I have no problem, provided you can do, but you talk to the thesis director, who is Walter Rostow. Rostow was a big man. I went to meet him. He closed one of his eyes and leaned on the desk and said, it's difficult, but not impossible. I will tell you what's the difference between a teacher and a guru. Then he said, let's go and have coffee and donuts. Each university there is a shopping mall type area. They is called the village. So there was a rice village. Went to the village. So we said, let's drive. So I was in his car, so we were driving. So before reaching the village, he suddenly entered the rice stadium. I was new also that time. No, I didn't know. He got out of the car. So I also got out, and then he took me to a place where there is a plaque written John F. Kennedy. His name, only name written. He said, look at that. I looked at it. He said, it's from here that Kennedy had said that we'll put a man on the moon and bring him back in 10 years. By showing that, he told me that there are impossible things can happen. When Kennedy said that we'll send a man to the moon and bring him, nobody dreamt of it. That you can go to the moon, and a man can go to the moon and come. It was not even the wildest dream. By showing that, he wanted to demonstrate that even difficult or impossible things can be possible if we want to. So I started that's Walter Rostow's, my intro, and then I started. And I finished it in 1 year.
The course, the whole course.
Of course, that was this record. And my thesis was, I had a thesis option. I had to write a thesis also. And the date of you have to defend the thesis. So there was the oral examination. So I first saw the notification, and Rostow had invited very big economist, Jim Tobin. So I came and met Rostow. What is this? You have invited Tobin. Tobin subsequently got the Nobel Prize.
Oh.
Big person. So he said, you can't be the examinee and the examiner. It's none of your business. You have written a thesis, and then it's my business to get it examined. Now, you can't tell me anything on that. So obviously, I can't. So I went. So there is a faculty club lounge. So I got it. Then those days there was no email. So you used to have a pigeonhole in the department. So all your written communication will come in the pigeonhole. I saw a communication in the pigeonhole. The Jim Tobin will meet you at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. My thesis, the oral was at 10 o'clock. So we went there. Tobin was there. I immediately figured out, and Tobin I knew, the famous man. So I went, met him, and I have a seat and all that. Then he said, yes, there's an exam today, right? So before the exam, let's have coffee. So that's what he starts. Then in 5 minutes, he made the whole atmosphere so easy. He said, do you have a girlfriend? I said, no, I can't tell you that. He said, I won't tell what. I will not tell your supervisor. Did you kiss her? I said, I can't tell you that also. Okay, don't tell me. By those two conversations, he immediately made it a very easy thing. It's not that he is Jim Tobin. It's just like a friend. Say, okay, I'll pick up coffee for you, and you pick up the walnut cake for me. And then we ate together and talked everything except studies. That was the time when the Janata government had come. That Mukherjee Desai and all, Mrs. Gandhi was defeated. I talked all about those things, nothing. And then at 9:45, said, let's go. So we went to the hall. He stood up and said, to preempt anybody, this is the brilliant thesis.
Oh.
But everybody kept quiet. There were question answers, but nobody heckled you. Usually you are heckled if your supervisor is not defending you. So it's a very good thesis. Everybody kept quiet. I got the degree and I came back. I attended the convocation. So my point of saying is that in Rice I knew what is a guru and a teacher. That's the guru who inspires you, who tells you this is difficult but you can do it. Teacher will come and teach you and go away. Give you some notes which you will mug up and no. Guru is somebody who looks after you, encourages you, even it is impossible. When Rosto told me that it's difficult but not impossible, it still is a very difficult thing to finish 2-year course in 1 year. And it's an entirely different education system. In Rice, the system then was, they will give you the question paper and return you answer wherever you want to answer and come back and give the answer paper in 10 days' time.
Oh.
Open note, open book, you go home, come back and give. No invigilation, no time limit. But the questions were also very tough. Unless you have read it well, you can't answer it. Even if you can't answer it in 1 month. So that was the system. Then the system is the supervisor grades and gives this answer book back to you. You can challenge him. Why you have given me 5 or 10 or not 15? So it's a totally different system.
The communication is there.
Is there in the open,
open
based
system.
on honesty.
Yes.
I have given you 5, I will defend why I give you 5. So it was a different system, and you do everything yourself. It's not like here, that help your mother to do
Independent kind.
You have to do everything. So that was, and also Rice really got me to meet some great people. They had a system of extension lecture. Every 3 weeks, one distinguished person will come to teach you. So you can interact, and he will live in the campus, so you can interact with him. So I met many great people. So each one was inspiring. How they did and how much they take interest in you, how much they are. So Rice gave me the idea of what is the difference in guru and a teacher.
But this is all about your career.
My formative years.
Formative years.
Then I came back to India, and after that I went several times, but never for studies. I went for research and all that. Then I began my career in the United Bank of India. I came back, they were very happy, and the United Bank was another set of totally different. United Bank also,
And your that difference, gelling up with that, coming back from Rice and again to India, that system, the government system.
I was meant to, because in India I had 2 or 3 motivating things. It's not that I was coming back to a slave. I had met Neela by the time. She was 2 years junior to me. So I was looking forward to getting married. So that, that's a very emotional period. That I could come back to the bank with their MPA degrees. The bank was also very happy. A lot of people nowadays also, they take leave and then they either run away or they do nothing. They while away or they work somewhere. You take study leave and then you work. And did nothing. I really did it. Actually, that thesis I wrote in Rice became my first book in 1981. Firma KLM wrote. After that, I wrote 45 books, but that was the first book. So, Rice, then in State Bank. Bank also I did a lot of things which normally a person will not do. And first, my substantive posting was again, I was a trainee in Park Street branch, and I went there as the first posting as the deputy manager. A lot of things happened there, and in between, somehow or other, there was a system in the bank that the chairman would take meeting of disgruntled customers. I think once in a month it was there. It was a Friday. So I was one of the persons called, because those days, if you want to transfer money, you have to write you have to go to the bank will deposit the money and then give you what they call a mail transfer voucher. And the bank will send it to the branch by post. You want to send money from Chittaranjan Park to Timarpur branch, so they will send it by dark. You deposit the money, you get a slip for the money deposited, and it will go, and it's dark. Bank those days, you could not, there was no electronic transfer. It's all manual. So if you want to do a mail transfer, you have to deposit whatever money you want to send, say 2,000 rupees, the bank will give you a receipt, and bank will send a manual, a letter. It's called the mail transfer. It's a standard format. The bank will send itself through the ordinary post, normal post, to the branch of the person where you are sending the money. So usually it used to take 2-3 days. What happened, there was a guy called Maulai Shah. He used to do the mail transfer in the bank. So, and the money was taken, the mail transfer, the voucher were written, the officer was signed, but he forgot to dispatch it. Because in a bank, on any given day, at least in Pakistan, there were 50-60 mail transfers. So it's a human error. And what happened, he kept it there used to be a box, a red colored box, in which all these vouchers were kept, and then they were dispatched in the evening. He forgot to send it, and the paper on which these mail transfer written were very thin. It got stuck in the box. So nobody noticed it the next day also. Next day also, more mail transfers came, more mail transfers done. So the guy who sent the money filed a complaint. And that complaint is what I said, the chairman used to take the complaint once a month. So I can't say Maulai Shah has done it. I have to, as an officer, I have to take charge, responsibility. I went to the meeting. So my turn came. So I told the chairman, sir, this is the chairman, executive director, and the general managers were there. That person whose mail transfer got stuck is a very important person. So he raised a lot of walla. So I said, sir, this is a genuine mistake. And then I took that day to the box, and in which I kept one mail transfer also. I said, sir, have a look at this. You have to look underneath and then see. You can't see this particular mail transfer which was not sent, got stuck in the inner wall of the box. And so it was a genuine mistake. I asked him to see that. So everybody was surprised that these fellows asking the chairman to see the box of the mail transfer. I showed him. So he said, yes.
He was convinced. He was convinced.
He was convinced this is a genuine mistake. I accept the mistake. And as soon as the gentleman whose mail was being sent and was not sent, by mistake pointed this out to me, I took remedial steps. And I said it's a mistake, it's a human error. I'm driving a car, you can hit somebody by error. There was nothing intentional. And actually, I didn't even know the gentleman. Maulai Shah also didn't know the gentleman. So why should he unnecessarily delay his mail transfer? he got, he said, okay. Normally people will give excuse. I said, no, it's my mistake, our mistake. We did not discover it.
But this is what happened.
This is what happened, exactly happened. No malafide, just human error. So he let me go. In about 7 days' time, the executive director wanted an executive secretary for himself. So he told Manas Bose, who was general manager, I want that man. Made me. So from Park Street, I went to the executive secretary, executive director secretariat, straight. Now, the chairman's room and the executive director's room are adjacent, and they walk to the same corridor. So in the corridor, one day at lunchtime, I met the chairman. His name is K.D. Nair, a ferocious person. He said, what are you doing here? I said, no, I've been transferred here to Mr. K.V. Damle, Executive Director Secretariat. He said, okay. Next day, I got a transfer order. I transferred from the Executive Director Secretariat to CMD Secretariat.
Oh my goodness.
He said,
he even wanted you.
Yeah, yes, I wanted you. But the Damle maneuvered it early. But Damle was less busy because he is National Executive Director. But chairman was busy. He has got then. So Damle was very good to me. So Damle said, what is this? Why have this been done? Why have you spoken to him? I said, I met him in the corridor during lunchtime. And this is he asked me, where are you? I said, this, and this is. He called Manas Bose, and Manas Bose said, you report tomorrow. I had no option. So he said, no, I won't release you. I said, sir, you can't. This is a fight between the executive director and the managing director. I will be caught in between, crossfire. He said, you find a solution. So I went to the Nair. I knew because he was fond of me, so I had discovered that, hey, Cap, what do you want? Nothing, sir. I will be your executive secretary, but I will also do the secretariat work of Mr. Damle. Why? I said, well, I posted here, and he wants a need. Will you be able to manage? I said, I will manage. So that is my responsibility. Because I also knew it to manage because these ED's work and the chairman's work, they overlap. I said, okay. So I became executive secretary to the board, to the chairman and managing director, and the executive director. I, at that time, became the most powerful man in the bank and the most hated also. Because all the dirty work I had to do. The chairman doesn't do. I will tell you some stories about what happened. A union minister was coming, I won't name him, from center, and one day the chairman, I will tell you that's another story. He was coming. While we were waiting for the union minister, the leader of the opposition in the West Bengal Assembly, I can tell that name, Rajesh Khaitan, came. He said, I want to meet the chairman. I said, sir, he is waiting for the union minister. He said, I will just take 2 minutes, as people say. But they never finish in 2 minutes, they will finish in 20 minutes. So I couldn't, because the chairman was not engaged, and he was waiting, so I couldn't also tell him. So I said, okay, sir, 2 minutes mein kar. Yes. As soon as Rajesh Khaitan entered the chairman's chamber, the union minister came. So I had no option. I had said, Sir Petty, I took him to the waiting room. He had a lot of people with him, 5-6 people with him also. And so I informed the chairman, sir, the union minister has come. So in 2-3 minutes, Rajesh Khaitan finished off and then went away. So then I asked the union to escorted the union minister to the chairman. He was furious. He was made to wait for 3-4 minutes. The chairman should have been there to receive me. I said, so he was doing it. I told him situation. No. Anyway, he went out and he told the chairman, sir, Mr. Nair, I'm a union minister. And he gave him a lot of gali, as usual. He should have been done there. Nair used to smoke pipe. So when he was very agitated, he will smoke more of the pipe. So he was very agitated. So he said, "Have you finished?" And he used to talk like this also, with the emphasis at the end. "Sir, have you finished?" He said, "Yes." The Indian minister replied, he said, "Sir, I'm a public servant." So I said, "Sir, what would you like to have, tea or coffee?" He said, "Nothing." So he went away. So then I came. And the chair, Nair was disposing of files. I told you, "Sir, there are गड़बड़ हो गया." तो क्या गड़बड़ हुआ? Sir, this, he's very angry. "होने दो, क्या आप क्या कर सकते हो?" I'm waiting. He's leader of the opposition. This time CPM government. Jyoti Babu was the chief minister. And Ashim Dasgupta was the finance minister. He said, "What can I do? I can't. If the leader of the opposition is here waiting for me, and this gentleman who is supposed to be here, he has not arrived." As usual, ministers will say at 10 o'clock, they take it for granted that people would wait for him till 11 o'clock. I can't do. So, but I said, "Sir, you should, the finance minister, chief minister should be briefed." He said, "This is very dangerous." He said, "Chief, you go, I won't meet the chief minister, you go and brief the finance minister." So I took an appointment. Finance minister's student, Sunetra Chakraborty, was my colleague. He was in the bank also. I spoke to Chopin, get me an appointment. I will just brief him what happened. I went, he gave me an appointment. So Ashim Dasgupta was a very learned man. He was a PhD, MIT and all. Well, he gave me a patient hearing. So he asked, "Ki kotte chami?" Amai ki kotte bolen. In Bengali, he said, "What do you want me to do?" I said, "Nothing, sir. I'm briefing you. You are the boss here. So I'm briefing, just giving a briefing." He said, just with his eyes, "That is okay, ciao." All difficult tasks he will give me. He won't say he will do it, you get it done. But now, get it done means United Bank was then full of Bengalis. Getting work done by a Bengali is not easy. They will ask you 20 questions. Under which law and under which by law you are asking me, what is your authority, who has given you? I mean, they will give you a barrage of questions. Anyway, so he used to ask me to do, and so I was very unpopular. People thought I am doing it. Give you one example. He one day discovered, people who were scale 4 and above, chief officer and above, were given cars. And they were supposed to come to office, and at 9:45, there are three kinds of staff in the bank. There was subordinate staff, who were daftaris and peons and their drivers. They are supposed to come at 9:45. Then there were the clerical staff. They were supposed to come at 10 o'clock. And there were officers who were also supposed to come at 10 o'clock. Now, if you are not there at 10 o'clock, or if the sub-staff is not there at 9:45, he has to be marked late. There was a manual attendance register then. So, one day chairman came, he was a very intelligent person. I said, "Koi gaadi nahi hai garage mein." There are 50 people in the bank, in the office, who have vehicles. One or two may have not come or whatever, but how come there's so many people who are not there? If cars are not there, they're not there. They suppose the cars are given to come to office. So you ensure that they come to office before 9:45. If they don't come before 9:45, they can't mark late at 9:45. I said, "What to do?" He told me, "Call them up every morning at 9:30 and say, 'Good morning.'"
Oh my, it's a very, it is not possible.
But he said, "You call them up, all of them." I had to do it. And if they are not there, then I write a letter to them that I called you, you are not there to receive my call, have a good day, I hope to speak to you next time, and put that copy of that letter into their personal files. Personal file paper going means everybody who looks at your promotion record will know that you were late in office. I started doing that. People were running, they won't go to the toilet. First they will go sit in their chairs waiting for that call. And when the call came, they used to call, Baba, Samer Masi bheje gachi. So they thought I used to do it. But I didn't. I can't tell the chairman that now I want to do. And so by just no circular, nothing. By just that good morning call, those people who are in UVA, old people, ask them, they will tell you all that story. The good morning call was a very notorious call. Everybody started coming at night. But I had to do it. Well, he will suddenly, he said, then Narayan Dutt Tiwari, the finance minister, was coming. Mr. Wadhwa was the chairman of Allahabad Bank. His secretary called me up. He said, tomorrow the finance minister is coming. So the chairman is saying, his chairman, Wadhwa is saying that Mr. Nair should go. I said, I will communicate to him. I went and told him, sir, Mr. N.D. Tiwari is coming tomorrow. So Mr. Wadhwa wants you to go. He said, why should I go? It's a protocols business. वो साला मारवाड़ी चोर लोग आएगा उसको तेल लगाने. I don't want to rub shoulders with them. Those fellows who comes to me for money, they will be rubbing shoulders with me. I don't want to go. I won't go. He didn't go. There were three chairmen in Calcutta at that time. Nair, B.K. Chatterjee was in UCO Bank and Mr. Wadhwa was in Allahabad Bank. But the finance minister immediately discovered that one bank manager is not there. So in the afternoon, Mr. Wadhwa called me directly. He said, don't take it lightly, ask your chairman to go and meet you. Take him, somehow. So the minister noted he was not there. Everybody else noted and that not done. So I told Mr. Nair, sir, appointment karo. Fix up an appointment. So there was another officer with me in the secretariat called Sambhu Chatterjee. I asked Sambhu, fix an appointment. So Sambhu called up his Narayan Dutt Tiwari's private secretary and he said, 10 o'clock the minister will meet Mr. Nair in Grand Hotel. Because that is where they were staying. So I told him, sir, tum bhi aao. You come along. So I was there at 9 o'clock. Then Mr. Nair came at 9:30. So we went to the lobby and he asked, check where he wants to meet. I called his private secretary. Where will you meet? Would you want me to come to the minister's suite? I went, no. The minister will come to the lobby. So, as usual, tick at 10 o'clock, Mr. Narayan Dutt Tiwari, very elegant looking person. Sharp features, typical area look, fair, very elegant. With folded hands and all, he met, how are you? This, that. Then he said, that is my life lesson actually. Mr. Nair, I think your extension is pending before me. Nair said, sir, 36 साल में पेट नहीं भरा तो 6 महीना में नहीं भरेगा. आप रख लीजिए 6 महीना का extension.
Oh my goodness.
But the minister was nonplussed because they are not used to listening to this. Mr. Nair started as a go-down clerk in Lahore. And then he rose to become the chairman managing director. Yes, and all this. So, many things, but this is very important. Sir, 36 साल में पेट नहीं भरा तो 6 महीने में वो नहीं भरेगा, वो रख लीजिए एक्सटेंशन आपका. Went away. That's also
ऐसे भी लोग हैं
ऐसे भी डिग्निफाइड लोग हैं कि हमारा 6 महीना का एक्सटेंशन पेंडिंग है तो आपके पीछे पीछे मैं घूमते रहूँगा.
And he is reminding that कि आपका तो अभी
एक्सटेंशन मेरे पास, आई थिंक उन्हें एज अ क्वेरी इज ऑल्सो सर नायर साहब आपका ये एक्सटेंशन मेरे पास पेंडिंग है ना. बट नायर गॉट द मैसेज. तो सर 36 साल में पेट नहीं भरा तो अब 6 महीने में पेट नहीं भरेगा, आप रख लीजिए एक्सटेंशन. एंड देन ही वॉकड आउट.
Really a lesson.
All lesson this with how to do it. ठीक है, नहीं है 6 महीने में नहीं, इज करेक्ट. 6 महीने क्या होगा, 36 साल तो काम कर लिया. This is now when I retired from the UN, I said I was not retired. They were giving a contract. I said, I don't want time to go back home. इतना काम कर लिया, अब क्या करेगा पैसे लेकर के? Beyond a point, तो पैसा का कोई utility है नहीं. So that was the United Bank. Very fruitful.
You had worked how many years with the bank?
United Bank is 76, roughly 76 to 89. 89, what happened? My wife she was a brilliant person, much more brilliant than me. She was in the IES. She got appointed as professor in the National Academy, Missouri.
Oh.
How my wife got into Missouri, there was a post for a professor of economics and advertised by the Union Public Service Commission, because that's a government body. She applied and went through the process and was appointed. She became professor at the age of 37, a full professor. Normally, if somebody becomes professor at 58, 59, at the fag end of their lives, they become professor. Most of them don't become professors at all. But she was at 37, she was professor at the academy. Now, she joined in I think, October or November, and I could not come to see them off from Calcutta because I was in a bank, and December is the closing month of bank. It was then. So we had to prepare the balance sheet, profit and loss account, making provisions for bad debt, making provision for interest, all kinds of things. So the bank did not give me leave. So I told Neela and my son, you go now. I will come during your birthday. His birthday is on April. So what happened was, I went there in April, and I made a courtesy call on Mr. Ugandhar. Mr. B.N. Ugandhar, he was the director. Mr. Ugandhar is incidentally the father of Satya Nadella, the chairman of Microsoft.
Oh.
They're genetically very sharp. So I made a courtesy call on Mr. Ugandhar, as Neela's husband. Now, Ugandhar was a very mobile person. So he used to travel a whole lot, and he told me that I went to Northeast and I saw a lot of district credit plans there. Now, United Bank was the lead bank in Northeast. Tripura, Manipur, Meghalaya, much of Upper Assam, Digboi, Goalpara and all there. United Bank was the lead bank. So United Bank was supposed to prepare the credit plans. And they used to be prepared by a gentleman. His name is very famous now in Bengal, Pratul Mukherjee. Ami Banglaye Gan Gai.
Oh, yes.
Pratulda is a statistician. He is my guru. He taught me statistics. So Pratulda used to do, and the chairman obviously had to approve the credit plan. He had no time. So I used to go through the credit plans and give the chairman a brief. But Nair was a ferocious chairman, so I had to read. If any other chairman, you can skip this, skip that. You can't do that with Nair. And because he started as a go-down clerk and became the chairman manager, he knew every strata of work. So I had to read that. And Gandhar asked me, there in Churachandpur credit plan. So Churachandpur is now in lot of news because of this fight between the Kukis and the Meithis. Those days they were tension, but there was no fighting like this. So I gave him a briefing. And he said, what is the strong point? I gave him a strong point. Then he asked me about the Digboi in Assam. He picked up a pen, what are the strong points, how will have the resource flow be there and this and that. So I said, I explained to everything. Then he asked me, how do you know? I said, I'm the executive secretary to the board and chairman, and I have to brief the board and chairman of every credit plan and answer. He told me, join tomorrow. the academy. I said, tomorrow how can I join? I'm in public sector bank. I have to resign. I have to give a notice. Then I can come. I can't come like that. Then come on deputation. I said, deputation, and then deputation was prohibited in the bank. I said, I can't come on deputation. He said, we'll see. Okay, we'll see sometime. So, he was a king-like person. I will see. Okay, I stayed in, I met Yugandhar. He invited me for dinner and all with Neela and all. So I came back to Calcutta. And Manas Bose, then general manager, he was still general manager, he called me that the chairman is furious with you. Then maybe he will charge sheet you or he'll sack you or something. Otherwise, I've done nothing. For what? For going on leave, then sanction leave. Well, that I don't know. Ami Zanina, he's saying in Bengali. He was a Kat Bangal. He's Ki Ami Zanina. He's there. So I met that. Then, at that time, the chairman, Mr. Nair had retired. Mr. J.V. Shetty had become the chairman. J.V. Shetty was also executive director. I also knew him because I was in the secretariat. So J.V. Shetty, I went, I knocked, secretary immediately called. He said, doctor, you know what you have done, you are liable for dismissal. I said, well, what have I done? He said, you applied for a job without routing it through proper channel, and you have got the appointment also, you appeared for the interview, and you have not told me. I said, I have never applied for a job. So in those days there were telex. So he sent me a telex. Jabharat Reddy was the secretary banking, that please release Amitava Mukherjee forthwith with instructions to report to the National Academy, Missouri. So I said, see, this is the telex. I said, sir, I have never applied, but then how did, in a government, how has an appointment come through? So then I said, give me half an hour, let me think about it, let me talk to my wife and find out. So I called Neela, said, well, yes, I have got a copy of the telex also. Yugandhar called, at that time the cabinet secretary was Binod Pandey. He was Yugandhar's friend, Binod Pandey, and Jayabharat Reddy was the secretary banking. Jayabharat Reddy was Yugandhar's batchmate.
Oh.
So Yugandhar talked to Binod Pandey. Binod Pandey बोला कि Binod Pandey was also a very non-conventional officer. He said, "अबे release कर दो, उसका paper work होते रहेगा." I said, on deputation you can always go. So and actually deputation was beneficial for me also, because if you go on deputation, your current pay is protected and you get a deputation allowance, 10% of the pay. In those days, I had a princely salary of 15,000 rupees. That was my salary. So, on that deputation allowance, so I will get 20,000. I was Mahakhus. So, I then met Mr. Sethi. Again, in the evening, I said, Mr. Yugandhar wanted me there. Because, why is Yugandhar interested in the... I said, he read all the credit plans. The 73rd Constitution Amendment is coming, where the districts will be required to prepare plans. So he wants to train the IAS officers in planning at the district level. So he wanted my services. He had mentioned this to me, but I did not know that he is going to do all this. So he couldn't do anything to me, because I have been released by the Secretary Banking on the instructions of the Cabinet Secretary of India. I also never applied for a job. Reading the credit plan was not my job. It was Pratulda's job. But, it always pays to do something, learn something new. So I had to brief the chairman, so I read the credit plans, I understood the resource flows, I understood the sectors. So that paid me. That is how I landed in Missouri. Missouri, there were many instances. I was stayed for a deputation. The bank after 1 year said, you come back. So Yugandhar wrote to them, no, we extend this deputation for 1 more year and all that. Then he said, Jhanjat chodo yaar, I will advertise the post. We'll frame the recruitment rules, RR, they say RRs. And so, after about 2 years, the post was advertised and then I appeared. In the academy, what I did was, that Yugandhar told me, Yugandhar was a sage, he is my guru. I mean, if one person have indebted to me for my profession, it is Yugandhar. He said, you are not Gandhi. You are not Ram Mohan Roy. And Yugandhar was a very well-read person and a totally non-parochial person. You are not Ram Mohan Roy, you are not Vidyasagar, you are not Phule. So if you are thinking of some great social transformation, you can't do. So I said, what do I do? I said, you start working for a village. If you can improve the lives of one village, lives of villagers of one village, maybe 100, 200, and if they can change their lives, what's your life? You can't do good to one person, but you can develop one full village. That's worth your life. Do that. That's how I motivated and I got into district planning. And I used the same techniques that were used in the credit plans. I started doing district planning. And Yugandhar took me to different places in Paul. Yugandhar was also a great man in that, he will meet you, never some small talk. What is Modi saying? What is Lalu saying? What is Narasimha Rao saying? He will never talk about it. If you come back from anywhere, he will first think, what new book are you reading? Now, people used to bluff him. No, I was reading, sir, the Human Development Report. Really? Okay. He called his PA and say, his name was Bedwal, put up a notice, there will be a seminar tomorrow at 3 o'clock on Human Development Report, and Mr. X, Y, and Z will speak on it. And the faculty जो पढ़ा नहीं है, वो तो घबरा जाता है, बोलता है नहीं sir, we'll give you 1 year, 1 more week. We will force you to read. And always, I went with him for a study tour in Germany, England, and in USA. In Harvard Square, he said, he would always say, he would not breathe on your neck. He said, it's 10 o'clock. So what time we meet here again? So we say, sir, 2 o'clock. I said, okay. 2 o'clock I saw him running, coming. He said, sir, Amitava. He had a lot of fondness for me. I'm in great trouble. I was worried, kya trouble? Now, I bought books, I don't know how to take them. Now, he went to the bookshops and bought books. The books are very heavy.
Very heavy, yes.
And we had an allowance at that, those days the allowance was USA, the 2 suitcases, whatever the weight. But as it is, we are going there, so we have warm clothes, this, that, suitcases are packed. And then, there the difficulty is, even if you pack your bag, you have to carry yourself. So I went to the workshop, I said, let us see, sir, how much. I went there, he said, I almost bought it like that bookshelf, full of the books. I said, what have you done? This is, you can't take this book. So they are also very helpful, the Americans. They say, we'll do one thing, we'll ship you by surface mail. You already paid, so I say, well, surface mail. And then there will be some problem with the customs, or Uganda said, we'll sort it out. These are books for the academy, so they will. So that was his way of making you read. That was a discussion. If you really read the book and if you say, tell us the strong points, then he will engage with you on a discussion on that. Never all these hera-fairy things. And always a very socially conscious person. The Bonded Labor Abolition Act was by Uganda.
Oh.
He and Mr. D. Bandyopadhyay was Secretary Labor, and there was one other gentleman, Padma Shri, Avdesh Kaushal. They toured all the areas north of Mussoorie, it's called Lakhamandal, identified the bonded labor problems, and they got the act ready. The government, the parliament passes the act, but somebody has to do the legwork and cook and make the act ready, which they will accept. So Uganda was a man like that. So that's how I went with it. And then in the academy I found all the characters of Mahabharata are there. There is Dhritarashtra. That means what? I have the power, I know everything, but I will not do anything. Many IAS officers are like that. They have the power, but they know, but they will not. There are a lot of Duryodhans. Many of them are very jealous. If you are, once you are a little out of line, that means a little better than the others, there is a lot of jealousy, including between officers who are husband and wife. There were a lot of Bhishma Pitamahas. They know everything, they can do everything, but
they will not.
What is dharma? I don't know. It's very difficult. They are supposed to manufacture people who will afford the dharma of the nation. IAS officers, every year, those days, there were 150, 140 officers. So 150 officers, my God, if they are good, they can change the country. So there were a lot of Vishwa Pitamahas. They knew everything, good, bad, but I can't do anything. And they were Karnas also. They know this is correct, this will harm them, but they will still do it because it is morally correct. Never give in to pralobhan. Karna's great character is that, no? He was Kunti was supposed giving him the kingdom. He said, no, I will stand by my friend. And then people criticize Karna also because he was instrumental in that Draupadi Bastrahara and all. Well, they're all him. He's not perfect. Nobody is perfect. He's also not perfect. So, but there are Karnas. The academy found out, my God, all the characters are there. Shakunis are there. They're always trying to say wrong things, bad things, and manipulating, manufacturing. And Arjunas are also there. So academy, that gave me at one place, this is National Academy, Mussoorie, the future of the country, and those who can really do when power, and their different characters. While in the academy, then I left academy. Uganda left. Mr. N.C. Saxena came, and Saxena is also a great director. Uganda was a man of wide concerns. He will tell you, this is what is happening in Iraq, bombing is wrong here. We should do something, have a seminar, have a workshop, all the things. Saxena Sahib was not a man of wide concern. He was a man with limited concern, or limited issues. But he went deep into it. Whatever Mr. N.C. Saxena will deal with, he will know everything inside out. Very thorough man. So and he could write very well. Uganda couldn't write very well. He was a thinker, philosopher, idealist. So I also have people like that. And NC was a writer, a doer. I'm fond of saying that 50% of Uganda and 50% of Saxena, you combine that ideal director, an ideal IAS officer. So while I was there, then Uganda left. I left. I left means in the academy, I was there for 5 years. 6 years. Then I thought, that we need to go out in the field. I'm a field person. Too much in the academy all the time, is I felt not good for me. And in the 6 years, I wrote a lot of things. I wrote a lot, spoke a lot. So I thought now I should move on. So I went to Action Aid. That was another story, but I cannot tell you this whole night will go. I joined Action Aid. In Action Aid, I also, as usual, I tried to do some new things. One of the new things I did was, we got into, Action Aid is an international NGO. They work in different sectors, health, education, women's empowerment, livelihoods, irrigation and all. So I said we should work on HIV and AIDS. It was a taboo then, because the reason mostly it was born out of ignorance. We didn't know. Everybody thought that if you sit with a person with AIDS, you get AIDS. Or if you eat in the same food, you get AIDS. All kinds of misconceptions were there. I go tour around the country and found out that, but it was urgent. It required immediate attention. So I worked on it a bit. So after then I was very unwell. So I left Action Aid and I was home. So the next year itself, UN declared a year for the HIV/AIDS. It had become already a pandemic. It was a big problematic. They were looking for a person who will write a paper. In the UN, when you discuss something, the UN has many arms. One arm is the regional office, is the United Nations. So meanwhile, the UN is called the ESCAP, United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific in Bangkok. They said they will have a commission session. Commission session means all the countries will discuss that issue. Well, commission session on HIV and AIDS. So they were looking for a person to write the paper. Okay. So the lady called San Yunwa, she came from Bangkok, and Yunwa was known to Ugandhar, because Ugandhar was earlier Director Technology Transfer in ESCAP, in Bangkok itself. So Yunwa recruited. He said, come, we joined. So that is how I joined ESCAP, then UN ESCAP. Then there were the problems of budget, so I was taken as a master trainer. But with the understanding that I will also participate in the writing of the theme paper for the HIV, for the commission to discuss on HIV and AIDS. That's how I entered ESCAP, UN. Then in the UN, once UN system, somebody had told me, for Pranesh Saha, that if you are not dishonest, you don't lose job. Do the job. Very few people lose job for anything else. Other than if dishonesty, a single rupee, they're out next minute. Next minute they will take your key and seal your room and send you out immediately. So I went there, and there was a vacancy which arose in public-private partnership for poverty alleviation. It was advertised, I applied, got the job. So from AIDS I went to public-private partnership. They had 5 projects, 5 wings: water and sanitation, HIV and one, energy, and environment. While this was going on, there was a regional advisor on poverty alleviation. UN advertised it, that to work on poverty in all the countries in Asia. I applied for it and got a job. That gave me, then the Under Secretary General in UNESCAP got changed, and then Miss Nolin Hazer came. They are having problems with the UN Center for Agricultural Engineering and Machinery in Beijing. She asked me whether I could take charge. I said, but no, I can work anywhere. So that's what I had learned again in the academy. If the boss asks you where will you go, you will say wherever you send me. So she asked me to go. I went there. That gave me a chance to work in Beijing, in the whole of China. Then before it ended, so Nolin Hazer, Under Secretary, asked me whether I go to Google. I went to Beijing, and it was a wonderful time. This was 2008 when the Beijing Olympics were there. So at a chance to see how the Chinese organization capacity is just supreme, faultless. Hu Jintao was the PM then. The press asked me, what is there? There is, I think Athens, just before the 2008 Olympics was Athens. Athens was so beautiful and all. He said, wait, you will get the same beautiful thing here. At night, I don't know, 200, 300,000, 100,000 lakh workers were unleashed on the streets of Beijing. And they decorated everything. Next morning while going to office, I used to stay in the diplomatic enclave, and my office was a little far away. All the streets were all changed. They said there will be a lot of pollution. The Prime Minister said there was no pollution. The day before the Beijing Olympics, they unleashed cloud bombs. So rain all over Beijing, all the pollution came down. And there's so many things about the Olympics. So anyway, that was the time when I saw the organization capacity of the Chinese and the way they work and the hard work they do. Then Mr. Nolin Hazer and Mrs. Nolin Hazer, she asked me whether I can. There was some crisis in the UN Center for Agriculture, UN Center for Poverty Alleviation through secondary crops in Jakarta, near Bogor, the place Bogor called in Jakarta, whether I can go and do something for that. So I said, yes, always good to regenerate a limping organization, because then you do new things. And so I went there and started working there. Then I came back to Bangkok again, and there was not many people know, there's a ministry in South Korea, which is called the Ministry of Unification. They're trying to unify North and South Korea.
No, never heard of it.
Yeah, there is a Ministry of Unification. So they were running several projects to do good to the North Korean. Because North Korea was like India of 1970, and South Korea was like USA in 2050. I'm saying futuristic. They were so much more advanced. So there were several projects to bring up North Korea a bit, so that if there is a unification, they will not have the same problems which East Germany and West Germany had when they were unified. West Germany was way ahead. East Germany was far lagging behind. So then unification is very difficult. So I came to Bangkok. In the meanwhile, Neela got sick. And only neither did a lot. I had always enjoyed the goodwill of the man at the top or a woman at the top. So Nolin Hazer said, made me the coordinator for the celebration of Tagore's 150th anniversary by UN. So she didn't tell me, but I could see it. She told me on the lift, I hope you get to spend more time with your wife now. And I knew that what she has worked it out that way. So that I spent, because you have to, if you are talking about Tagore, you have to have India. That I came to work in that project for unification. Then Neela passed away. And I did get offers in Afghanistan. I worked in, but I already attained my age of superannuation by the time I was 62. So I had to. One could have tried for a contract and all, but then
You never wish to, go beyond that, working beyond 62.
Yeah, you can get that will be on a contract basis. But I didn't want to do that, and I didn't try. I was not mentally also up to it. If I tried, I could have got it, but I left. Then I came back to India. Then started working in Afghanistan. And I worked for 4 or 5 years till the COVID caught on. After that, of course, I've confined to. During my last project, last assignment where I was working with the Unification Ministry, it gave me a chance to look at North Korea. I've had a chance to visit North Korea several times, and I realized that, like you realize when you go to Bangladesh, that political divide can draw a line on the map, or they can create a fence on the land, but the liking for each other remains. North Koreans, they want to go to South Korea. They want to be like South Korea. South Koreans also, they want to unify with North Korea. Like us, many of their, if they're broken families, father and the mother and the daughter is in North Korea, the son and the daughter-in-law is in South Korea. So they're broken families. They want to unify. And both are very hard-working people. They have their own stories. So this is roughly my, what would I say, professional life. So my professional life, I would say, strictly started in 76, September, and I ended in July 2012. 62 years. And
so this vast experience, globally connected with so many people, so many countries, rather not people, the countries. So of course you have your spiritual journey. I want to know from you.
Yeah, we'll do it. My spiritual journey began the day I had Hathekodi in front of our family deity Matara in Hazaribagh. So that has to be another story, because in each phase there was spiritualism. At home, in school, in college, in the university, post-university. Interesting. So a lot of actually we started Durga Puja in Houston.
Oh.
There was no puja mandap and all there. We started it in a church. Me and a friend of mine called Partha Moitra. Partha Moitra is a big shot in Jamnagar refinery. He's one of the principal architects of Jamnagar refinery. He was in chemical engineering, right? So I was in. So we started. So the spiritual journey has gone on.
So probably our next session will be.
We can do that spiritual
all of your spiritual journey.
To do that, spiritual journey has also been quite exciting. I've met many great people.
So why not come tell people? People will love to hear it, because now as on we were talking, I was just thinking, it's the journey is so beautiful, and it will give people a motivation and inspiration. We will have you here again.
Yeah, sure.
So thank you for coming to Life and Living.
Thank you for calling me.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.